everybody. Thanks for tuning in. This episode is part of my new series called Becoming a Beekeeper from the Ground Up. And in this DIY project, you're not only going to get your hive off the ground, but you're also going to be deterring those pests and those predators from getting into your hive. Stick around. I'm Rance, and welcome to this old hive. And welcome back. Today's DIY project is this beautiful two-stand hive stand. I'm going to show you how to put this together and how to fasten your hives to it and secure it to the ground so it won't tip over. In the file area on Facebook and in the description below on YouTube is a PDF file called DIY 2-Hive Hive Stand Project. You can download this file and follow along during this video. This file contains the materials list, the cut list, the tools list, and a CAD drawing of the drilling template. So let's do a rundown of the prep for this project. The first thing you will need to do is to cut the materials according to the cut list. Make sure when you pick out your materials that the materials are not twisted or warped. Make sure your 2x4s are not twisted, that they're straight. This will ensure that your project gets put together square and level, and when you take this out to your apiary or in your backyard to set it up, that it's easier for you to level it off. So then the next thing is to drill all the holes with the drilling jig. Then sand all the sides, all the edges, all the ends, all the faces, everything. Sand everything. Your paint's going to adhere to it, or your stain's going to adhere to it a lot better if you sand those boards. Next is to paint or stain everything. All of your edges, all your sides, ends, 2 coats of stain, or if you paint, 2 coats of primer and 2 coats of semi-gloss or gloss overcoat. And then you want to let it dry for a day or two afterwards, let it harden before you put your project together. The reason why I suggest the semi-gloss or the gloss, I actually prefer the gloss, is because of cleaning the stand off. Yeah, it actually is pretty much self-cleaning. The rain will actually clean off your propolis and any of the honey that gets dripped on. It'll clean off the little girly's footprints. Okay, so next up is going to be constructing the drilling jig. I would suggest making this because if you have any other hive stands that you want to make in the future, you have the jig handy. You don't have to measure anything out. You just put the doggone thing on, level it off, drill your holes, and you're done. It really makes things easier by having this jig. Take the time to construct the jig, put it away, hang it up in your garage, wherever you put it in your bee stuff. Next time you need to make a stand, your drilling is going to be a whole lot easier. So, up next is the drilling jig. So, this is the jig, and it consists of a piece of 1/4-inch plywood that is 4 1/4 inches long by let's make sure I got that right. Yep, 4¼ inches long by 3½ inches wide. Now your 2x4s are 3½, your 4x4s are 3½, and your 1x4s should be around the 3½ mark. Out of that 1x4 material I was telling you about, you're going to need to cut a 3/4 by 3/4 by 3½ inch piece. And that, I'm going to show you this in just a minute here. That will, let me get this set underneath the camera here. And let us start that. Okay, so this is the jig. And like I said, it's 3½ inch to this leading edge here of the 3/4 by 3/4 inch. So you are actually going to be putting a 3/4 by 3/4 inch on one end. That is the 4¼ That will give you the 3½ inch this way, the 3½ inch this way. Okay. Then you are going to measure in 3/4 inch, 3/4 inch, 3/4 inch. And then this is approximately about 2 5/8 inch in for these holes here. It's not real critical that they're exact, but you want to try to make them pretty much exact, because then if you do disassemble it to paint it or anything, everything is going to come apart. It's all going to go back together the same way because you've used this jig. Okay. So, next is you're going to drill your holes where you've marked on this. That's going to give you a pilot for using on your 2x4s. This will work on everything that you use for marking and drilling your holes. Okay, so now that wasn't so bad. It's a pretty easy little template to make. And I also put the sizes on here and the spacing I wrote right on there, so that if I have to make another one, that'll work for making another one too. So let's put one of the legs together and let me show you how to do this. You want to pick out 2 of your 4x4s. Now remember, you are going to have 2 sets of legs, one on the left and one on the right. I'm just going to show you how to build one of them right now. All right. And so for the bottom part of this is the bottom. You are actually going to be drilling. You're going to be putting on your template like so on the edge, like so. You can put it this way too if you want to line it up with this. I generally just put it on the edge here like this, and get it set up. So anyway, so let's get that drilled out, and I will show you how to put this stuff together here. All right. Pretty easy. Just keep the template lined up. Line it up with the edge. Okay. Now you screw this right on, like so. Get this screwed on. Make sure you line the edges up so that it's flush and that's straight across. And just put your screws in. Now this is the bottom piece, where it sits on the ground. Just kind of make sure that this has got a good coat of paint on it, or paint or stain on it. and line up the edges real good. If you want, you can actually use your template, put it up there, get it lined up like so, and you're ready to rock and roll. And if it's a little off, take a hammer or whatever you need to do and just tap that in so that it's flush. Okay. You put all 4 of these in on both sides, like that. All right, so now we're going to go to, this is called a rail. The front is the stile, and this is the rail. And so what we're going to do is we are going to go like so. Get this leading edge here squared up. I put 1 screw in first. I'm going to have to turn it around here so I can get to it. I'm going to put 1 screw in first so I can get it level. Important that you get this level with the bench. The bench actually acts as a guide. Once you get it leveled on the bench, it's not gonna rock. That's what I was talking about before. All right. All right. So now we got those in. Alrighty then. All right, so now there's your leg. All right, that's how you make both of your legs are made identically the same. All right, let's go to the next part. Okay, so another step that you have to do is drill your holes in all of your decking. That should be done before you stain this. But anyways, you use the template the same way. Stain or paint this anyways. Use the template the same way. These 2 inside holes are measured out so that when you put this on the edge like so, that your holes are 3/4 of an inch from here to here. Let's see if I can't show that to you. Okay, so the 3/4 here to here from the edge, and your jig fits on like so, and then you're drilling these 2 holes. Okay, so with that, now that you've got them drilled, now you can paint them. You can paint them or stain them and get them ready to rock and roll. And so let's get this the rest of the stand put together here, and then I'll be right back. Okay, now that you've got your legs all put on, now it's time to put the deck boards on. Pretty simple to do this, but a rule of thumb is this board that's on the edge on both ends needs to be square, needs to be set on here so that it's square and then it's flush. Flush on this side, flush on that side, flush on this side. This board here has to be your leading board, square it up, get the stand square, and put this board on. Then work, put your spacer in, put the board on, pull it up, put your screws in, spacer board, spacer board, spacer board, screw all these boards in, and then the last one, you have a support board here. This support board not only holds this apart here, but it's also a place to screw your last board to, plus your holding clips. So anyways, this is last. So now we're going to put this board up here like so, and then we're going to zip that baby in. Now a lot of this is already finished and already put together because it takes a long time to do these videos. Okay. All right, so now once these are spaced correctly, now you can put in your support here. And sometimes they don't quite fit exactly right. You might have to take the screws up if you want. This one fits okay, I just have to pound it up to meet the other board. Okay, then you want to get it so that it is flush with this edge as much as possible. Okay. Now what I do with this is one of the reasons why you need the clamps. What I do with this is I will clamp this right up to the board. Make sure it's flush up against here. And flush up against here. Now if you want, you can put a square on this, try to square it off. It's really not necessary because if you've already squared up your boards, you're ready to rock and roll. These screw holes are set up with this screw here that you've drilled a hole in for the deck board. That's the center of the support board. And so that's the reason why you use this jig, is because this hole, one of the reasons why, this hole here will help you line up. Just drill your holes here. Keep in mind you have a screw that goes down in here. It's 1 5/8 inches. So you want to put this hole here down below where that screw would meet so you don't run into it. And then just symmetrically just drill them in. You don't need a template for doing that. You see some of it's still wet. And just like so. Now you do the same thing with the other side. Start with the outside edge, work your way back in. Let me get this put out here just a little ways yet here. Okay, so you do the same thing with this side as you did with this side. When you're going to pull these out, take a pliers, grab a hold of it. Yeah, there you go. Pull it out. Pull them out. Might be a good idea if you went and made a couple extra ones of these. What we're going to do now is we are actually going to be putting in the hold downs, and you're going to be putting them on the outside of each one of the, so you have two of them, one on the inside boards and one on the outside boards. What I did here was I measured 3/8 of an inch in. I measured half the distance of 20 inches, which is 10 inches. I eyeballed the eyelet up, or the hold down up on that line, and then I kind of like just pre-drilled a little bit so that the screw wouldn't move. So you want the center of this, center with the boards this way and center with the boards this way. This is for your hold downs for your straps. Oops, wrong one. And so then we're going to screw these in. Just like so. All right, so then what I did was, all I did was eyeball these other two screws on the outside and the inside, on both sides. I put two screws on both sides of this. That'll help hold that so that that board doesn't warp. And so basically, I just eyeballed them where I wanted to do. 3/8 of an inch in, put that in. That'll draw those boards right up. And like I said, the outside boards and the inside boards, let's bring this out here again. So it'd be the outside, this gets a hold down, this gets a hold down, this gets a hold down, this gets a hold down. All of them get the screws put in right next to it, 1 and 5/8 inch screws. So that's pretty slick. We are done putting this project together. And I'll let me talk a little bit about the strap. So my wonderful wife came up with this idea about how to hold the hives down to the stand. And we'll get zoomed in here. It's just a normal strap that you just pull, and it tightens up all by itself. That's all you basically need. That's going to hold everything down. What my wife did was she made some loops, and then I put the carabiners on. And so when you put the strap on, strap goes on the carabiner. Okay, this one, it doesn't make any difference what side that you have the carabiner on. What she also did was a length, and I believe this is 20 inches. She made another loop in it so I could put another carabiner in. And that carabiner, this loop will allow me to strap down single deeps or just a double deep hive that I don't have a super on or a feeder on or whatever. Just to take up enough of the slack. Then on the opposite side, you have another carabiner and another strap that she sewed, or loop that she sewed up, and that goes on. That goes on another one of the sides, like so. So now you have your strap like so. When you go to put it on, you put it over the top. You adjust this to the amount of strapping that you need. You put it over the top. This even works with gable roofs. And then you strap it down. You pull it so it's tight. When you want to get in to do your hive inspections, you loosen it up. You take this, throw it underneath the hive. Please throw it underneath the hive. If you don't, you're going to end up tripping on it. Trust me. How do I know that? And then when you're finished, you take this out, put it over the hive, strap them down again. Perfect. It works really well. I really enjoy using these hive stands. Okay, so let me show you about fastening the T-post on. Now, I don't have a jig for doing that. Basically what it is, you're going to get your U-bolt. As a matter of fact, I can't find the U-bolt. I laid it down someplace. You're going to get a 3-inch U-bolt, and you're going to drill your holes in the front here. Measure the center to this, and then measure out 1.5 inches or whatever. Make sure that you check it to make sure that the bolts are going to go through. Drill your pilot holes through there, and then drill the right size hole that you need for putting the U-bolt in. And then you're going to pound this in the ground. And when you pound this in the ground, I generally put them in about 2 feet. Then when you get it pounded in, make sure you pound it pretty straight. Then you're going to get your hive lined up against the T-post, and then you're going to put your U-bolt in and tighten her down. Tighten her down real good, and then you're going to use a cutoff tool, and you're going to cut this off. They got battery-operated cutoff tools. Maybe you can borrow one from somebody if you don't have one. Cut it off flush with the top here. That way you're not going to trip over it, or you're not going to bang into it because it's going to stick up quite a ways. And then kind of take a file or whatever, take the sharp edges off it so you don't get cut. So I think that's about it. I encourage you to watch some of my other DIY project videos and my upcoming beekeeping videos. Thanks for tuning in today, and as always, may your day be as sweet as your honey. We'll see you next time on This Old Hive.